Today is our first in our data science series of webinars. We're going to be introducing Spark TK. I'm joined by Ling and Fred, who are going to walk us through that today. Again, if you're just now joining us, my name is Amara Keller. I'm the community manager for the Trusted Analytics platform. I'm super excited to kick off this webinar series today. And I'm super excited that we have people here to join us, particularly after the US election was yesterday. So I'm going to hand this over to Ling to get us started. But again, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Amara. I'm excited to do an introduction today on Spark TK. This is our new library on Spark. So this is a brief agenda. We're going to talk about why we're doing Spark TK, what it is, and what it does, what it has. And for those of you who are currently using ATK on its toolkit, we're going to show you how to switch from ATK to Spark TK. And Fred will do a demo, show you comparison the difference between ATK and Spark TK, to show you how easy it is to do the switch. And the last slide will give you all the list of key documentations and where you can get help as part of your switching effort. So the Spark TK is the Spark library. The intention is to replace ATK, and this was available recently in this release a few weeks ago. And in this release, this is the best chance for you to switch from ATK to Spark TK, as you have both available, and you can, if needed, you can compare the results between the two tools, and we do expect the result to be the same. And in the next release, the ATK will be removed. So that's why this is the best opportunity for you to make that switch. So why are we doing this? So there are many Spark users out there, and we have heard them. And they told us, we want to use Spark along with what you offer. And we want to leverage our skill, what we know about Spark, much easier. So that's why we made the transition from ATK to Spark TK. It's much easier to set up if you know how ATK was set up before. And it looks just like any other Spark library. It's much easier for you to program with Spark TK. I'm hearing some noises on the phone. Okay, thanks. And being a library means that you can use Spark native functionality as well as other third-party Spark libraries. Pick your favorite one, the one that meets your needs the best. And Spark TK offers some unique features, but it doesn't do everything. And pick the right library, right tools for your needs, and you can mix and match for your job. And another benefit of making that transition is we see a much better performance being a library versus being a REST server-based toolkit. So the first question is, how does it compare to ATK? So if you compare the current versions of ATK versus the current version of Spark TK in 0.73, they have the same functionality, and they have 95% API compatibility to make the switch as easy as possible. And ATK has Python API only, and Spark TK, being your typical Spark library, has both Python and Scala. And compared to the previous versions of ATK, we have some new analytics features. And in terms of one of them, boxcox and reverse boxcox transformation, those are for data normalization as part of your data prep. And we also enhanced time series analysis, and you will see more algorithms there, quite a few statistical tests as part of the time series analysis. And we also start introducing a DICOM image processing. DICOM is the standard image format for medical images, such as what's the C-scan? Is that? Yeah, C-scan. Okay. And we're introducing operations to query, filter, transform DICOM images so to be processed in the next step of machine learning pipeline. And we will have more DICOM image processing in the future release as well. So with SparkTK, you can use it anywhere. You can use it on tap, just because of the library as a part of the Jupyter notebook, or you can run it locally, as most Spark users do. Develop Spark applications on your local system, and then after you develop locally, you can submit the job to be run on tap. This is where the big data comes into play, and if you run on tap, you take advantage of the resources available on tap with the big cluster, if you have a big cluster, and to have better performance than you will see on the local system. And another new change is scoring engine. So we had the scoring engine in the previous release for models to score models produced by ATK. And with SparkTK, we have a new scoring engine. The reason this new is because the models will be stored in a new format called MAR format, Model Archive format. I will give you a documentation. You can read more about it. So the intention is this new scoring engine with this new format. So our scoring engine will be able to score SparkTK models, obviously, and we have planned to score models produced elsewhere, such as scikit-learn. Scikit-learn is such a popular library to produce machine learning models, and the scoring engine, we plan to have scoring engine score on those models produced by scikit-learn and Spark ML models too. So this scoring engine will be extended to score models from many sources. And in this release, SparkTK is the very first one we support. So this is the big question. How hard is it to switch from ATK to SparkTK? So as I mentioned earlier, the code exists. You can run both, compare and compare the results. And keep in mind, will be removed next. So we really encourage ATK users to make the switch with 7.3. We have documentation, of course. And Fred will show you the before and after examples. Fred, take it away.
Okay. So right now, I think Amara is giving me the ability to share my screen.
You're absolutely correct. Hold on. There you go, Fred.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, you're live.
Okay, good. Okay, so first thing I want to do is look at the documentation a little bit that we used to have as part of the ATK and show you what's coming out with the SparkTK. So I'll give you a little contrast between both of them and show you some new things that we've put in to our documentation. Spark, if you wanted to look at models or see what models were out there in the old ATK, like an LDA model, you can click on that and find information out about it. You had do a little bit of searching. This is the Python documentation that was available in the ATK. And it was very singular or not deep. So one of the things we wanted to do was make it more meaningful for the data scientist. So if you look at what we've done with SparkTK, we've actually got different types of documentation within here, and you can actually use the APIs more effectively. So if I want to look at the different models or things that I have now, I click on that, and I know I may want to do a classification algorithm or a collaborative filtering algorithm. I can actually go into those and see exactly what's available to me, like a logistic regression or naive Bayes, random forest classifier, SVM. So, and I can traverse and find out much more information about those models that I want to create. So this was we thought a little bit better for the end users or the data scientists. The other thing we've done is we've actually taken and made available our Scala layer. So if I click on that, I can actually go in and look at different information. If I was doing a time series type of problem, I could search on and do something with ARIMA X, and it's going to bring up information on ARIMA X, and I can actually look at that model and what's available from a Scala perspective. So I've got capability of getting to the tools in different ways. Okay, that's from a documentation perspective. Now I want to do a little bit about comparing the two themselves, the scripts, and what they look like. So if I was to actually go in, you see we have many examples. If I was to click on the analytics toolkit, the console, I could click on the on tap, and I get in a Jupyter UI or interface for the end users to use. I can click on examples, and I've got ATK examples, Spark and TK Lib examples. Toolkit library examples has things like the Spark TK. It will have other libraries in there as we move forward and release our future versions coming out fairly shortly. So you can see some of the documentation there on the toolkit itself, and some information about importing and how you import the Spark toolkit. You'll see this is very similar to what we do with the analytics toolkit documentation-wise within the system as part of the README. So because there's actually a little bit less for you to worry about, because this is now a library versus a REST engine or REST server, you don't necessarily have to make sure the client software is matching the server software from a version perspective. You just import the library itself and you start using it, just as you would a PySpark problem, or when you're trying to solve a PySpark problem. Okay, so let me do a side-by-side comparison to show you exactly what these are going to look like. So here you see I have, and these examples are in the system when it's pre-installed. So in the ATK, you'll see the LDA example, and in the Spark TK, you'll see the LDA example. So the documentation has been updated for each. This one's the ATK. This one is the Spark TK. If I go down into the libraries themselves, you can see the first thing I need to do is import the Spark TK. Same thing with, that I used to do with the analytics toolkit, the ATK. Here I would need to ensure that it knew which server URI I was using. So it would connect your server to your client. That's not necessary anymore because it's a library now. So I don't need to do that. My credentials and security is now owned by the container that the library is being instantiated in. Okay? So I just need to go down from that. I do need to create a toolkit context, just as you would in Spark itself. So you've got this context, and we can share these contexts back and forth because we're built upon the same framework. Okay? So, and you see our data types have now, or I'm reading in data, but you can see our data types have now changed to the standard data types. So instead of a word count TA or analytics toolkit in 64, I now use the standard Python int. So it is becoming more and more like Spark. And it's becoming more and more user-friendly, and we're making even Spark even more user-friendly as we move forward. And we'll show some of that as well. So when you look at here, then you create the frame. Here you do a frame create, so you know exactly what's going on. Okay, so I do my frame inspect. Same thing I do here. That line does not change. It's the same line, and you get information out of it. I do a create model. Here it changes a little bit as well. So what I'm going to do here in Spark TK, I'm actually going to create and train the model in one step. Okay. Whereas in the old Analytics Toolkit, first thing I had to do was I had to create the model. Then I had to take that model and I had to train it and pass specific parameters and that type of stuff to it. So I do the same type of, let me see if I can get all those in there. The same type of parameters are being passed between that used to be passed. So there's not a lot of change in that, right? So that looks the same. So making the conversion from the ATK to the Spark TK is not that hard. So when you look at all of the things that you used to have to worry about and don't need to worry about anymore, so we used to have to drop objects and used to have the ability to drop objects like models and graphs. Because we're a library, we don't have that exactly within the library itself yet. What we're going to be doing there, and really you shouldn't have to worry about that. That's garbage cleanup. So we actually take care of that behind the scenes, a lot of that. One of the other things that we're looking at doing and adding to it is the ability for you to drop interim frames and interim models before you get to your final result. And that will be coming in the next version as well. So here, compute topic probabilities. So for computing topic probabilities, you can see I kind of broke this up into two. Here I'm going to do a model predict, and you can see the model predict is actually the same. The line, there's no change there. It's a simple conversion. The library is using it the same exact way. Okay. Compute the LDA score. You can see that is actually pretty similar as well. Not a lot of change there between the two, the lines of code. So it's working in a way that you should be used to. Whereas in the ATK we have this hybrid approach. Here now we're pretty singular with your ability to create models and ability to do ETL. Okay. So, and this is going on from compute histogram, where we're doing this down at the bottom here. You can see that that is pretty similar as well. You can do a group by, frame inspect. Okay. One of the things that you will see that is a little bit different is getting this model into your data catalog or model catalog in the future. Let me show you a little bit about that, what that's going to look like. If I go into my examples, oh, looks like I was logged out here. Or actually, Jupyter, come in here. Examples, TK Lives. I'm going to look at the Spark TK one. One of the things that we really show and use in our workshops sometimes is this space shuttle example. In here, I've taken the space shuttle example and I've converted it from a ATK script to a Spark TK script. So you can see, and it's pretty simple. In here, I just actually do my import Spark TK, and I import the TAP catalog, which gives me the ability to now link this to TAP itself and put this into the data catalog. Okay, and from there, I import data catalog and I import the TK context. So now my frames have a context, or they're objects I can actually use, and my data catalog is something I can now put something into. Okay. Here, I read in the data and train the model. So I'm actually getting the data from an HDFS source, and I'm putting that right into the model. So I'm importing that CSV into a frame. And then I will take that and I will run the train with that frame and those features that I'm concerned about. Okay. I'll then export the model to MAR format. So here, export to MAR, which will actually store it in the MAR format, which can be then used by the scoring engine, our new scoring engine, which I'll show you a little bit of the difference between those as well. Here I'm saving it as a space shuttle svm.mar file. So if I go and when I did save that, if I go out here into my data catalog, I should have a space shuttle svm.mar file right here that was created and stored in this HDFS location. So that's a way to get to it so you know exactly where it is. Okay, back to that space shuttle model. Okay, here you can see I'm putting it into that data catalog. So I've saved it or exported it, and then I've added it to the data catalog. What this addition to the data catalog is doing is creating the metadata within our system so you can actually view it in the console. And then we keep track of it and we know exactly where it is. Okay? So the next statement here after that, some of the things that I can do is actually look at the properties, import the HDFS client, and look at any of the files that are out there. So I have that capability within the system as well. Don't know if I'm set up. Let me run this real quick. And that, run that. So I can actually see what models or MAR files are out there. So I've actually got that capability. You can see there's actually 3 models out there that I can make use of. If I wanted to right now, I can actually run this, remove the model. So because I'm going to possibly put another model out there, I have that capability as well. Okay. So that's what's going on with the import to model catalog and the deletion of files or models. So I've got that capability within the system as well. Okay, so that's that example. When you go out to our GitHub and look, let me go do that. In there. Yep, I want to leave this page. So going out to our GitHub, looking at our repository, Space Shuttle. In the Space Shuttle demo for this release, one of the things I did, and I checked in this about 13 days ago, I have the ATK model generator and the Spark TK model generator. So you can actually go out there and view both and compare them and see the changes that I've made. I did some cleanup in the Spark TK model generator. So if some lines look like they've been split apart, that was just cleanup so I could put some titling explanations in there to make it easier for you. Okay, so that is now done in there. Also added so some of the Spark TK model generation information to the system. So it can actually go out there and run through the system. Another library to go and look at, or another repository, is the dataset reader. Oh. Oh, if I can spell right. The dataset reader example. If I go into the dataset reader sample and I go into the source and I look at the analytics, in the analytics you'll now see the NetFlow demo Python notebook as well as the Spark TK notebook. So in this notebook, I'll go through that one really quick. Okay. So here I'm importing the necessary libraries so I can look at them and use them. I'm importing Spark TK and the model catalog so I can get this into the model catalog. Cleaning up any objects prior to my run, look and see what's there, setting up my scoring reference. Now I'm going to read in the file. You'll notice I've changed all the types, the data types, to standard Python types. So we've got float, string, integer versus float 64 or int 64. which were actual data types from the analytics toolkit. So that's all been changed and made standard. Same thing, I import a CSV file based upon that schema. And then I have the capability of doing all the ETL that I used to do before. So I can get rows, create rows, add rows, parse rows, split them, flatten or unflatten rows. I have all that capability. Or columns, sorry, flatten or unflatten columns, saying rows. But I do have that, and I can actually convert data types, add columns, build graph. Within the system, we do have graph capabilities, and we've implemented links to OrientDB within the system, so I can export to an OrientDB database, and I can import from an OrientDB database. I have the capability of running graph analytics against the Orient database, or the model, the graph that was actually put into OrientDB. So I have that capability within the system. Okay. I still have the same type of capabilities where I can import pandas into my scripting. I can run against that. I believe I've actually gotten this a run of this. Let me open that real quick. Examples. Oh. Wrong one. Here, the NetFlow demo. This was one I actually ran through. It doesn't take long to run through the complete system or the complete script. Here you can see the data is read in. If I come down, you can see I built a graph here, and I'm using that information, and I will actually export to the OrientDB. I believe in this script. I'm using a Lambda for bytes in, bytes out as part of my adding of columns. If I come down, I can compute weighted and unweighted degree counts within this system. So the top one was the unweighted, and these are the weighted degree counts. I can then take it, download it to a Pandas, create a summary frame, download that frame to Pandas, and then I can actually start using the Pandas API. And I can print out what I want to, compute my histogram bins, and then plot my histograms. I have that capability, so I've got some ability to show different things within the system and make a scatter plot. I have all of that capability. And then I can create and train an SVM model. Here I'm actually getting the data for use that I want to use in the model, and then I'm going to actually do an SVM model train, SVM being in the a classification algorithm. So it's easy to do that in one step. And then I'll take that and I'll run predictor or verify type of step on it to get information from it and see what my predicted label is going to be and my predicted label count. And then I'll download the scatter plot, the information to Pandas again, and I'll print it out so I can see the difference as to what's going on with the dataset reader or the NetFlow. And as a data science, as a network engineer, I'm going to want to know which clusters or areas that I need to worry about for possible fraud detection or possible denial of service, those types of things. And this is helping me get that out. Here at the end, I'm going to export the model to MAR format so it can be used. I'm going to import that into the data catalog, same steps that I've run before. And below here, I put in this line, only run the below lines to remove the files or models from HDFS. You're doing your cleanup. Okay? And right now, you can see I commented them out, but those are these are the lines that I would run to clean up any of my files, okay, that I've created, or any data objects that I've created. And that's really what I have to show today. So
So we're open to Q&A. And Mara, can you switch back to me? And because I have a little bit of a few references I want to show.
Sure thing. So there's a questions tool within GoToMeeting. I've been trying to answer those as they come in. So if you want to use that to submit your questions, that would be great. Lynn, you should be able to present now.
Okay, so here it's just a quick, we're going to share this deck obviously afterwards, and some important documentation we have here, and I also encourage you to go to the community site to ask questions. Oh, I'm not, are we seeing the slide here?
No, you're not sharing yet.
Oh, I'm not sharing, okay. I thought am I sharing now?
Yes.
You are.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I encourage you to go to our community site. We have resources there, documentation there, and you can ask questions as part of your effort of using this new library.
Fred, we actually have a question for you specifically. Will there ever be a function for automatic type inferences for building the schema for Python data within Spark TK? Specifying the types of a large number of data columns seem very manually intensive.
That is already built into the library. So we do have column inference within the system, and it's actually documented in the documentation. So yes, we do have that capability.
Thank you. The other question that came up during the session was who developed Spark TK?
Yes.
Oh, so that would be my team here in Oregon. So is myself and about 19 other people.
And it's open source, right?
It is open source. It's actually in the Trusted Analytics repositories right now.
Another question that came in is how does Spark TK handle not a number or NaN values or missing values?
That one I'm going to have to search on. I know we do handle them, so I'm going to have to answer that one offline.
Okay.
I'll answer that one in the community.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, so remember, this is a different usage model from ATK. So Spark TK will try to offer unique capability that's not covered in Spark. So if you don't find what you need, I do not expect you to find everything you need in Spark TK. So you think of it as something you're free to use Spark core functionalities, and as well as other Spark libraries, and so find the things you need from the source that your preference. Instead of compared to ATK, there's a expectation of ATK does everything for you on from any kind of data transformation. Spark TK does not intend to it replace Spark. It's part of a Spark ecosystem. Think of it this way, yeah. So not everything will be in Spark TK, and feel free to find the right library for your needs.
Another question, how does Spark TK handle date time values? This is one of the more helpful features of pandas, for example. Is that another one, Fred, you'll have to answer offline?
No. We have date time format. I'd like to show my screen if I can.
Okay, yeah, I can give it back to you.
Because I've actually, so just so I can show.
Sorry, I accidentally made David presenter.
No problem.
Fred.
Okay, so do you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, so for the first question on the null values or missing values, and also on column inference, if you look in the Spark TK documentation on that, you'll see that we handle both, and a missing value of none is inserted in place when we cannot or unable to cast data to the schema's data type. So we handle that there. Going down in our documentation to show you examples, I can actually bring up the date time. Did I pass it? Date time format. Let's see. Date time format. So we actually do handle date time as a data type within the system. So string specifying how date time columns are formatted using java.text.simpleDate format specified, and you can see all that information on it. So that should answer the date time format question.
Great, thank you. Another question came in, was a person not able to use Spark and ATK together before Spark TK?
There were issues when you were using both. So the Spark TK library has done away with those issues that we were having because we would actually hide some of the Spark functionality before behind ATK. Now they coexist, and you can use both of them straight up without a lot of issue.
Our questions seem to be slowing down a little bit.
Okay.
If anybody still on the call has a question, please go ahead and get that entered into the tool right now. If not, we'll start to wrap up. Oh, another question. Is it clear what's uniquely TK versus Spark?
Yes. You'll see at the head most everything in the system with Spark TK does start with the Spark TK class and breaks down from there. So when you're looking at the Scala documentation, you can see up at the top level, most everything is starting with a Spark T or has a Spark TK in it. TrustAnalytics.SparkTK, and breaks down from there.
All right, another question came in. Will you be doing more webinars? Absolutely. We'll be doing webinars on TAP as well as what I like to consider in and around TAP, which includes things like Spark TK, as well as our next webinar, which will be on Jupyter Notebooks. When will we get invites to the next webinars? If you signed up for this one, it's actually a series, so you will get information about the next one. It will update and send you basically similar information to what you got this time. So I think an hour before it says, you know, hey, just a reminder, you've signed up for this. But we'll update the information there so you'll be able to see what the next topic is. And again, that's on Jupyter Notebooks. Additionally, if you sign up for our community, that's community.trustanalytics.org, we will do a notification through there to sign up for our next webinar as well as the topic. And of course, if you're involved with the community, you'll be able to see the other webinars or other content that we have out there as well.
One thing I do want to mention is there's a easy conversion between the Spark data frame and Spark TK data frame. That's how you're able to use the Spark along with Spark TK. So there's the data type can be converted easily between the two.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I really appreciate that you joined today. I hope you got something out of this webinar. Again, the recording will be available out on our community site. We do have other recordings out there if you're looking for getting started material with TAP or the console view of the Trust Analytics platform. I know we kind of glossed over that a little bit today so that we could focus on Spark TK and the new and exciting things that it brings to the table. But we have that information out and available on our community site. There's a videos tab. I invite you to go and watch some of those recorded sessions as well. And stay tuned for what we have for the next two data science series webinars. And then in 2017, we're looking to do even more webinars with a variety of content as well. So thanks for attending, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.